next time by.
It'll be restart number 6 or 7 or 8. Not sure of the exact number, but it'll be a repeat of the things we've seen many times in this race. Mitch Welker, Chad Klinger, they've been up front all day. First 42 laps we've run. Been quite a few cautions, but Mitch he's been practicing his restarts, so if there's anything that's come out of this, he'll be the best restarter in the business after tonight.
Okay, let's get it going once again. And the drivers are getting just as frustrated as I'm sure some other people are. And green flag is out. And that frustration might cause yet more yellows as the temperatures inside the cockpit raise. Everybody eager to try and make up positions, eager to get going, maybe making less wiser decisions. Will it snowball, or will we finally clean up the act? Great exit there by Chad Klinger. Even though he cuts low, doesn't seem to be able to get by the 16.
Casey Lakatos down the inside of Tim Downey Jr. He's going to get clear. The 50 past the 25. That's for P8 or P9 or P10 or one of them down there.
So Ben Lafter, the highest of those on fresh rubber in the 64, but with quite a bit of damage on that car as well. Coming along the backstretch once again, and the front runners starting to spread out a little bit. Let's see if that 64, oh, and he's going to get into Lakatos. No caution, though.
Everybody's geez, that surprised me so much that I can't even speak. Everybody's kept it rolling in a straight line, but there were cars all over the shot there. But everybody's still going, so no caution.
Okay, well, that gives a few spots to the 64. I'm sure he's happy to get a little bit of racing karma there. In fact, he's in pretty clear air because of that. You can see he can just run his laps now and take advantage of that fresh rubber, as everybody up at the front still dealing with what they started on. And actually, we didn't see it on camera, but I think Welker just scraped the wall off of 4 that time.
Yeah, he took a little bit of paint off the side of the car, but don't think he's going to get any around.
Yellow's out. 21 spins it off of turn 4. We got a few more laps in this time, at least.
Yes, we did. I didn't see what happened to Eddie. He was around the back. I think he was kind of driving on his own back there. But did he clip the curb, or did he lose it on his own? We'll have to wait and see.
Wow, strange stuff on this one. It's not the first time, though, we've seen cars spinning it. Yeah, that looks to me like he just goosed it too hard.
Yep, just like what happened to David Mott Jr. a little bit earlier. So he's not the only one who's having a little bit of trouble on throttle. Eddie Trejo joins the list of drivers who have been pointing in the wrong direction so far tonight.
Seeing if we could find the other incident that happened before it. There you can see a little bit of it. Oh, that was a real hard hit. Who was that just plowed into the wall?
I think that was the 50 of Casey Lakatos, who just flew into the outside wall. Maybe, I don't know. There's so many. The 59 of Evan Adams, I believe, took the brunt of that accident. I'm trying to look back to see who specifically caked the outside wall. It was a couple laps ago, so might take a little. Yeah, it was Evan. Casey got loose, then Ben tipped him around, and then Evan tried to avoid and just ate safer barrier on the outside.
You know, at this rate, I'm almost wondering if old tires are the best call, just because it seems like we haven't been getting enough to really wear out the old ones. Those drivers up at the front, we may be on lap 52, but they've only put, what, about 25 laps of green flag racing on them at this stage?
Yeah, if that. I don't even know if they've had the chance to get heated back up, because they've only done a restart and then a couple laps and then a restart and then a couple laps. So who knows if these tires have worn at all. They might still be on like 99.
Looks like Mott Jr. is going to come in. The 4 is on his second stop on the lane. Not sure if this is first time taking tires, though, as we are once again too wide behind the pace car with the lights out. Going to get restarted on lap 54. Mitch Welker is yet to be overtaken for the lead during this race. It's not because of lack of trying for Chad Klinger. The 09 has certainly been giving it his all. Waiting for it. And this one was a little better timed by Chad. Green flag is out. 16 has got some competition around the outside. Chad Klinger just sending it in on a hope and a prayer, but that's not good enough to get him a spot.
Yeah, if that doesn't show you how little the outside's working right now, I don't know what else will. He had a nose ahead of Mitch on the apex of turn one, and still just not enough. He had the run on the bottom, and Mitch Welker able to hold on to the lead as usual so far tonight. So Chad's gonna have to try and start thinking of new ways to get by. He's gonna have to get to the bottom somehow. We'll see if he's able to do that, as the modified of Ben Laughter still out there on track, but he is going down, down, down.
Yeah, he hit the wall that time out of 4 to his inside. Finian DeCuna is going to be able to get into 12th because of that. Clifton Cockrell now looking like he's also going to nab a position. Well, those tires were a good hope. Oh, and he makes a little contact with Ricky Williams. The 11 was very heads up on that, just went the left, but it's not good enough to keep us away from caution because someone has brought it out.
I believe it was Evan Adams who either lost it on his own or got a little bit of help. We'll have to wait and see. Yeah, it looks like out of 4, Evan lost it himself. Take a look at a replay here. Yep, just it's the same thing we've seen in the last 2 cautions, just a little bit too hot on the throttle, and whee, around he goes. Nobody's been able to avoid that inside wall either. Oh, and David Mott Jr. took a little bit of a bite out of Evan's nose as well.
Yeah, that'll give both of them just a little bit of damage. You know, it might look silly for the outside observer who's not familiar with racing, especially in NASCAR stock cars, but I guess explain to our audience what is so tough about accelerating off the corners at this track in cup cars, because it certainly looks like it is testing the best of them out there today.
Well, when you've got a car with this much horsepower, it is basically a hairpin turn you're coming out of. So it's not just an oval turn. You're not just turning left full throttle. You're getting on the brakes, you're slowing the car down, and then you're trying to speed it back up. And when you try and speed up a car too fast on cold tires, the tires aren't going to like that very much, and you're going to be going around. The drivers up front have been able to keep it under control so far, but at the back, maybe drivers just pushing a little bit too hard to make their way up the field. Maybe some of the more inexperienced drivers in this car at the back of the field making mistakes because they don't know the limits of it yet. Either way, there's been a lot of incidents, and I think the drivers have been talking to each other over the radio over the last couple of cautions, just trying to work out what they're going to do and how they can all keep it clean for more than 5 laps.
Yeah, at this point, I have a feeling it starts to become less every man for himself, and everybody trying to work towards a more common goal, which is getting some actual racing in. Of the highest to have pitted and taken tires, looks like Alex Bell holds that spot in 10th, but there's literally no mixing of those who have pitted and those who have not. It is a straight line between 9th and 10th. Everybody behind there has at least visited pit lane once. Everybody in front has stayed out of the service area up to this point.
Just trying to listen to what race control Brian Chambliss is saying. I couldn't quite discern it, but I imagine he's telling the drivers again, just try and clean it up, be more careful, and let's not have any more single car incidents. So we'll see if the drivers can listen to that. We'll see if they pull it off here. Chad Klinger, to his defense, he had an incredible start last time. He got a nose ahead of Mitch, but he couldn't do anything with it because the outside wasn't doing anything. So we'll see this time. Maybe he can get a little bit further ahead, maybe pinch him down onto the apex, and that might be the key here. But we'll have to wait and see. He's had plenty of chances to try it. Now he's got to start trying new things.
So the 16 will give it another go, and Chad Klinger will also give it another go. I kind of wonder if Chad is almost resigned to the outside at this point to second place and is just trying to consolidate that one, hoping that we'll get some laps in. Let's see if he tries it again. We're going to ride on board them and see what the 16 does in that yellow and red car. It looked like a little bit of wheel spin actually for the 09 this time as he tried to get that throttle down. Behind him, the 27 around the outside of Jeremy Miller now. And still he's going to rebuff the 30.
Chad Klinger keeps showing his nose to the 16 down on the bottom, but he just isn't close enough to do anything with it. Miller and Carr still stuck side by side here. Zach now still to the outside, Jeremy Miller on the inside. The outside working a little bit better for Zach Carr than anybody else we've seen so far tonight. Maybe he's been a little bit nicer on the tires in these short green flag runs we've had so far, because he's hanging tough up there.
Yeah, this is, oh, and another caution. This time it was Mott again out of turn 4. And it was again a driver just unable to handle the throttle on these things.
Yeah, same exact thing he did earlier. A little bit less wall contact from that one. Yeah, it's weird. The rear just pendulums around. Like, it doesn't even look like he's getting loose at all, and the car just goes, nope, you're going around. So I wonder if it's hard for the drivers to tell the limits of this car, because it looks a little bit unpredictable right now.
Certainly does. By the way, Alex Bell made up at least 2 positions that time. He is now up into 8th. And I think we have some more takers on the lane. Tim Downey Jr. is in. Ben Lafter returns. Looks like Zach Halpern also going to make his way into the pits along with Eddie Trejo and Josh Collins.
Yeah, so far pitting hasn't been the move because we simply haven't run enough laps to make new tires really worth it. Hayden Pastorius was the driver who took new tires either on the last caution or a couple cautions ago. It's been so long that I couldn't tell you. I'm trying to see if he's really made up any spots from that. I think he has made a couple. He's got a little bit of rear end damage, so I don't know. I don't know if pitting's really doing anything for anybody just yet. As Evan Adams gets his lucky dog, he'll be back on the lead lap, and hopefully he doesn't lose it again next time.
Still got 2 cars lap down, Trejo and Mott Jr., but Mott Jr. has been in the pit lane since that last caution because of his damage hitting that inside wall. Didn't seem like that hard of a hit, so I gotta think that he'll try and get back out there and see what kind of laps he could rack up, maybe gain some positions if we get a bit more attrition. Hollaball still our only DNF today, and that was self-regulated, I guess you could say. Okay. There's a little bit of trickiness going on. That was Zach Carr in the 27 who kind of faked his way towards pit lane.
Yeah, I think they're just trying to amuse each other at this point, or amuse themselves. Because it makes no sense to pit if you're anywhere near the front right now. So nobody's really going to be thinking about that. We're crossing the line for lap 69 right now. We're just over a third of the way through the race, so we're going to have to start thinking about halfway points here soon. It won't be much of a fight if it's like the first 69 laps of this race have been, but there's still a lot of racing to go. I must tell you that, because it seems like we've been here forever, but we're barely even a third of the way through the race.
For what it's worth, because I am keeping track of our time limit here, we've actually only run through what looks to be 35 minutes, because we still have an hour and 18 left to go. So still plenty of time for them to try to fit this in. Let's not forget as well, we're getting close to the halfway mark where they're going to hand out the points, and it's looking more and more like Welker's going to take those, or at least the max points with the 10 up at the front.
They're all racked up again. We'll see. I keep saying it because I think Chad's thinking the same thing. What can I possibly do here to get the lead on one of these restarts? We'll see what he has up his sleeve this time.
I was glad to see some racing between Carr and Miller. Man, Carr is getting so close. He's actually giving a little bump to the 16 this time, and that might have actually caused him some wheel spin or something, because here comes Klinger. Oh, and it's getting a little rough up at the front. Here comes a 27. We're going to go 3 wide for the lead. Carr might have the inside and be able to take this away from Welker. Who would have thought he'd be the one to be able to finally lead another lap, but he's not going to do it this time. Just shy, still has the desired line. Down at the bottom of the banking, and we get a spin behind them. Caution is out. That's the 71, who unfortunately is going to get a big hit. Carwile was plowed into by Ricky Williams.
And Mitch Welker going to be thanking his lucky stars that he didn't lose the lead when the caution came out, because Zach Carr was going to have him. He had the bottom. He had the optimal line, thanks to Chad Klinger kind of slowing them both down. But let's see what happened to the 71 here. Now, this is the restart. This is up front, so Zach Carr down the inside, and then, yeah, 71 just loses it on his own once more, and he was in the top 6, so issues are affecting. Oh dear, that was a little bit of arc break right there.
Yeah, but credit to Alex Bell, because he was the one in the 15 that you saw. Just look at that black car. Whoop! Wow, and he doesn't even hit the wall with that avoidance. The 11 can't quite make the same claim, but like you said, little arc breaks, unfortunately. So, okay then. We still have 21 cars running, by the way. A couple more have jumped into the pit lane. Obviously, going to be Ricky Williams for one of them. Looks like Josh Collins is down there. Is he getting some repairs done? Because he's been in for about 30 seconds now.
He must be getting something repaired down there in the 76. I don't remember him hitting the wall ever, but like you said, he was down there for quite a while, 33.9 seconds, and that's more than just taking fuel and tires, so I don't know what went on there. Looking at my timesheets here, only the top 6 haven't actually pit, which is a surprise. Every single other driver from 7th down has been through pit lane at least once. So a lot of drivers have been getting damage fixed. A lot of drivers, or a couple drivers, have been trying to pull off some kind of strategy maneuver, but that's a surprise to see that the majority of the field has actually come down pit lane 75 laps in.
I suspect that at some point they will have to pit, even if we keep getting cautions like this, that I don't think they can go 185 laps on a tank of fuel, can they?
I mean, that's a good question. 185 laps with no green flag running. I don't know if they could do a 0 stop, but, you know, we might get to see. We might get to learn.
Who's been clutching this whole time from the start in hopes of being able to advance to the front? And Mitch Welker will now have a different friend next to him once we get restarted, which, is that this lap? No, the lights are still on. And poor Chad Klinger, with a little bit of a mistake, finds himself down to 3rd. Carr takes his place. Will fresh blood on the front row change up the complexion?
Well, you say poor Chad Klinger, but I think he might be a little bit happy to have a change of scenery here and have a new driver on the outside of Mitch, because now Chad can, I guess, try and do what Zach Carr was doing a couple times and just put the bumper to Mitch, tell him get going, and then I guess just stick to the bottom of him and hopefully sneak down the inside into 3.
Something we hadn't covered a little earlier, David Mott Jr. was given an EOL at one point, and Evan Adams was as well. I assume that's also related to some of the incidents that we've seen so far, since the last one we saw was handed out due to causing one of the yellows. Green flag getting ready to fly for Mitchell Welker, and he's on it. Green is out. Ooh, can Chad maybe get this 2nd place back right away? The 27 of Carr couldn't duck down in time, and here comes the blue and black number 09 trying to sneak that away. 27 has no place to get into line. Oh, but he gets in the leader!
No.
And it's going to be the entire field that plows into them. Oh, my goodness.
There it is.
Wow. And Carr sneaks through.
That's remarkable. Remember when I said at the start of the broadcast that being in the top 2 is kind of the safest place to be? Well, unfortunately, Mr. Chad Klinger has proved me wrong there, because it looks like Zach Carr made it through, Joshua Banks made it through, and everybody else did not.
Yeah, I'm seeing, looks like Alex Bell made a little bit of contact, but just kind of snuck by. And I also see Hayden Pastorius doing a great job avoiding most of it. He gets up to 5th because of that. Boy, this will give us a lot to analyze here on this one. That's Pastorius in the red, white, and black. Down at the bottom, man, the seas just parted at the right time. The 30, unfortunately, winding up facing the wrong direction.
And a lot of drivers coming down pit road right now to get damage fixed. I'm looking at Mitch Welker's car. He's got a lot of rear end damage, but not a lot of front end damage. And let's watch from the rear bumper of Mitch Welker that got damaged here. Just going into 3 and 4. He's kind of just in the middle of the track, so it's not his fault that Chad tried to send it in there, but just drivers not really knowing where to go. Zach Carr and Halpern Chad Klinger just trying to fight for track position that wasn't really there. They were both trying to get by him, and Chad just drove through him.
Sometimes we refer to it as the red mist. You just get that little bit too eager, too frustrated. Ah, man, look at all that damage. After spinning so long at the front, I gotta think that he is just fuming inside of that machine.
Well, I think you're probably right, but he is still out on track, so he hasn't called it quits. He's not giving up yet. He's getting that damage fixed.
Cow. Oh my God, look at the 09.
Yeah, we got another modified on track now. First it was just Ben Laughter. Mitch Welker spending an awfully long time in the pits, and there he goes. So he's not going to go a lap down. He will be at the back of the field, but we'll see. Oh, he is one down. Yeah, he did go a lap down. Unfortunately, just spent a little bit too much time in the pits, but I'm sure if we get another 5 cautions, he'll get right back up there. He's 3rd in line. So Joshua Collins would get the lucky dog, then Ryan Carwile, then Mitch. And, yeah, we'll see if he can make it back up there in the next 102 laps.
Klinger was given an EOL. Not sure that it matters all that much at this stage of the way that car looks. And then there were 3. Zach Carr, Josh Banks, and Ray Massey are the only 3 that have not visited pit lane so far. Alex Bell, remember we mentioned he was the highest to have pitted. Well, he's got his way up into 3rd as we get ready for the green flag for the first time, seeing somebody else at the front. Zach Carr gets a good jump, and Alex Bell making good use of that fresher rubber, getting underneath Josh Banks. I think Banks is going to tell him no, though, and rebuff him.
Yeah, Zach, it looked like he shifted a little bit late or something, because he was kind of slow on the last little straight bit before turn 1, and I thought Alex Bell was going to put the bumper to him, but did not. Joshua Banks trying to attack Zach. Can't get the bumper to him, can't get underneath him. It's just kind of a repeat of what we saw with Welker and Klinger, but now it's Carr and Banks.
But we are very single file currently, so the drivers have all spaced themselves out. Is this where we finally see some green flag racing? Banks looks pretty fast. My goodness. In fact, he's good in the corners, too. The 36 just about brought his bumper up to the 27.
Yeah, the only difference between these 2 cars, Joshua Banks has a big wiggle from Joshua Banks, but he keeps it together. Good save. He's got a little bit of rear end damage. The rear bumper of that car's punched in. Zach Carr's car is issue-free. There's not a bump or a dent or a scratch on that thing. But Joshua Banks clearly just has enough of an advantage that he can make up any lost speed that damage is giving him.
Well, I thought Alex Bell, the way that he took off at the start, was going to be one to watch out for. And Banks really wants that lead. He looks much faster than this 27. And he's going to give him another little hello, just a tiny little tap. And these 2 do look quite collected as close as they're racing, but Banks also looks a little bit anxious.
Yeah, you say they look quite collected. I kind of had war flashbacks back there when he put the bumper to Carr. I thought we were going to have another full field incident, but Carr kept it together. Banks might just have to be a little bit more careful and hope that Zach makes a mistake here. Zach Carr knows that Joshua Banks is faster. He knows that he's there, so that might be what Josh has in his tank here, just the element of fear that he puts into his enemies.
Hey, pressurizing the competition is just as fair of a strategy as any other. We come around to start lap 91 now. And after being real close behind that bumper, 36 has kind of backed off, so maybe he feels like that wasn't working. Just going to try and rifle some laps off. And like I said, Alex Bell behind them just seems to have not had the pace that I expected. As the 09 is already charging through the field. Klinger's gotten up to 13th.
Yeah, he was up front for a reason, so it's understandable that he's making moves. Evan Adams is now trying to get to the back of Klinger. He's not going to go for the move. That's the 71 of Ryan Carwile. He's a lap down. He gets out of the way. Klinger makes up a spot, but it's not for any track position yet.
So Evan Adams easily going to get by him as well. Yeah, Chad Klinger reminded me a little bit of, I think it was Dale Jr. at Martinsville one year that had a damaged car and just kept climbing his way forward each time. It was actually helped out by it a little bit as it cooled down his tires and brakes with the hole that they go through around this track. Someone way up high there in the background. I think that might have been Carwile even that we saw up high. Okay, we're starting to get into a little bit of a groove, but that groove means that Carr and Banks are gapping the field. They've pulled about a second and a half off of Alex Bell. They seem to be the ones to beat at this stage.
Yeah, but now is when we start to see a little bit of a tire competition. They haven't had to do anything with them all race, but Carr and Banks have to battle each other, see who's better on the tires, because they've got Alex Bell behind them, who does have 13-lap fresher tires, so he might be 2 seconds back now, but maybe he'll be able to make that up as the tires start to wear, because they haven't worn it all yet. We haven't run any green flag laps, basically, so it's going to be a couple laps still until the leaders start to fall off, and that's when, hopefully for Alex Bell, he'll start to have a little bit of an advantage.
And Nolan Hodgson, by the way, who's down in 6th, he's battling with Ray Massey. He's got 23-lap old tires, 24 now, so he's even fresher. And I'm surprised he's not making quicker work of the 23, although he's all over the rear bumper. Now he's got the run down the backstretch. 23 brakes very early. He knows he's not going to have the advantage, and he's going to let him through.
Yeah, I think that was just getting out of the way of the car that's much faster. And we'll see if Nolan Hodgson can start to make his way forward. Next up on the list is Hayden Pastorius. So we'll see if Hodgson has enough pace to make up that 2-second gap and start racing another car. I tell you what we missed. We've reached halfway. We crossed halfway at 93. So was that before the caution came out where Welker got turned, or was that after?
That was after, and that's Zach Carr who collected those bonus points. Welker, the luck is not with him today, unfortunately. I'm watching the lap times of Hodgson now that he's in clear air, trying to compare it. He's running 19.2s. Whereas Zach Carr is running 19 flats. So he might be quick, but Hodgson's not quicker than the leaders in spite of having what we expect as fresher tires.
Ooh, looks like Finian just got shuffled out a little bit. The 11 and the 71 trying to navigate through him. I don't know what's going on with the 94, but he's coming down pit lane now.
Oh, he blew his engine.
Oof.
The 94 just sent it into the corner. Do you think they're downshifting into these corners at all?
I couldn't tell you that, but maybe it's just a side effect of the damage. The temperatures were rising, and
that's true, yeah.
Eventually it just went kablamo. So he did have quite a big crash when he got turned, so that does make sense that the car would be struggling a little bit and running a little bit hot. So Finian's going to come down pit lane. He's actually taking tires while he's down there because, you know, why not? But he'll probably be down there for a little while getting those required repairs.
Yeah, I think it takes about a half an hour from what I understand to get a motor replaced. I thought for a second we were spinning on this onboard that we were on. But no, this is just Josh Banks getting close to the bumper once again after spending some time away from the rear of the 27. Once again, he's starting to show his nose and get a little bit more aggressive. So Finian is a good chance he'll be our latest DNF, but we'll keep an eye on if he decides to return. Close, Miller, and Hollibaugh are only official DNFs, with David Mott having sat in pit lane for about 18 minutes.
Joshua Banks clearly not scared of some of the events of earlier this race because he's all over the bumper of Zach Carr. And now Zach's going to start to get a little bit scared because look up front. There's a lot of lap cars, and is that going to be a caution? That was the 76 of Joshua Collins. You got a tow. We're good. We're good. No caution.
So stay in green, which is what Josh Banks wants right now. He wants to continue to show himself all over the mirrors of the 27. See if he could get a mistake out of him. They've put about 2.5 seconds on Alex Bell behind them, who's got some distance, a little under a second, back to Pistorius and Hodgson. Let's see, has he been making inroads on the 69 machine of Pistorius? 19.5s recently. Pistorius, no, he's running 19.4s and 19.3s. So no, Nolan does not appear to be quick enough to try and get a spot here based on raw pace. And look at this train, holy cow.
And that's bad news for the leaders because they're going to have to navigate through every single one of those cars. A good amount of them are on the lead lap, a good amount of them also aren't. Mitch Welker in the middle there, 1 lap down, so I guess that's kind of a silver lining for him. He's the only one a lap down now. His opponents for that lucky dog position, if we do go yellow once again, they're all gone. So he's going to be back on the lead lap if we get another caution, because everybody else is either 2 or 4 or 8 or 25,000 laps down. With this train being led by Casey Lakatos and Ben Lafter. Whole bunch of cars here about to be attacked by Zach Carr in a couple laps time.
And that's Ben Lafter who's going to get to the inside. This is for position over Lakatos, and it looks like he's got it. Ben Lafter is going to have a good day come hell or high water, it seems, because he is trying his darndest to get back into this. He'll bring Mitchell Welker along through, who, as you mentioned, is a lap down. Lakatos doesn't really like that. He's going to continue to race him around the outside, as he doesn't care what lap he's on. Now he's going to finally give way.
Well, as we saw early in the race, the order of the race can flip completely, so it's never over. And that's why a lot of these drivers are still out on track, even if they're 1 lap down, even if they're at the back with damage, because there's still 72 laps to go, and it could very easily flip again. Zach Carr, he is at the back of the pack right now. He's right behind Eddie Trejo, who's 2 laps down. So he is reaching lap traffic now, and that's exactly what Joshua Banks wants to see. He wants to sneak through there.
Now, this isn't exactly your F1 type situation where blue flags are going to clear everybody out of his way. This is up to how polite these drivers want to be. Trejo looks like he wants to be relatively polite as he pulls out of the way, and Zach gives a thank you to him. Next up, going to be Evan Adams. Big difference here is Trejo was 3 laps down, or 2 laps down, I guess, before. Evan Adams is on the lead lap. I can't imagine he wants to go a lap down here.
Yeah, Evan's got no reason to let Zach by, but he might be a little bit extra courteous here because he's not really racing for the lead. We'll see what Evan chooses to do. Everybody just kind of running in line now. Joshua Banks not able to close up to the back of Carr, even with this lap traffic, so Zach's gonna have to get a little bit more held up here as he gets to the bottom of Evan now. And yeah, it's gonna be nice and easy. Straight past Evan Adams, and Joshua Banks is gonna do the same.
I'm a bit surprised. Josh was all over that bumper for so many laps. I would have thought he'd easily catch that 27 here in the traffic. Do you think maybe he's intentionally holding back a little bit in case something goes wrong in the lapping?
I mean, maybe, but you can never predict what's going on here. He's trying to get by Chad Klinger now. I bet Chad didn't think he would be down here about 30 laps ago, but he is, and now he's the first car lap down. He'll get the lucky dog if we go yellow again, and suddenly Welker is 3rd in line to get the lucky dog. Evan Adams is 2nd in line now, and Chad Klinger is going to be 1st in line.
And we just got confirmation. Whoa, and a spin from Josh Banks. Caution is out, and Banks is the cause. No, don't back out. Oh, he almost backed into traffic. I thought we were going to have a wreck after the yellow. That was bizarre. He was really under control for much of this stint, and then out of the blue, you're just going to see this car go around.
And it's getting a little bit over aggressive, I guess, but even then, he was through the corner. That was the exit of the corner.
There's traffic to the outside. Maybe it put him offline, and I don't know.
Who knows? But Zach Carr coming down to the pits right now, so the leaders have finally chosen to come down.
And joined by a number of friends as well. First one not to pit in, Tim Downey Jr. in the 25, so he'll inherit the lead. Last stop for him was 47 laps ago, so not too terribly long, but we did have our longest green flag stint there now, so he's going to be feeling it perhaps a little more than some of the other drivers did during that first half of the race.
Yeah, and Chad Klinger got the lucky dog, like I said, so perfect timing for him. Nobody else got lapped before him. He'll get the wave around. All the lapped cars have gone around. None of them have come into the pits, so Evan and Mitch are going to hope for a wave around here. I don't think they're going to get one.
Zach Carr is the first one out of pit lane. Klinger just came back in, so he's not going to be sitting there. And Tim Downey will be ahead of him. But Tim is showing a lot of problems with his connection. You can see that car blinking. 25 might get a message from the race stewards if that doesn't clear up soon. Speaking of race stewards, I got confirmation that Mott has no intentions of returning to the track. So he is also a DNF for today. That means 4 drivers are officially out. DeCuna might as well be because, of course, his engine expired. And unless he actually tries and basically replace it and get back out there, he's not really going to have much to do today.
He might be able to get back out. We are on pace to, we got 55 more minutes, so he does have time to get back out there if we do fulfill the entirety of the clock. So he might be able to get out there for a couple more laps. Ricky Williams is out on track, so we won't be able to get by Williams. Joshua Collins is still in the pits, so there might be another position there. So he could get 1 extra point if he does go back out and move from 19th to 18th. So we'll see if he thinks that's worthwhile.
Okay, we have come down to a little less than, well, a little more than 60 laps to go now. We're getting into the later stages of this race at Martinsville. Despite a messy start, it has cleaned up quite a bit, and it's produced some interesting variations in strategy. Only other one on the lead lap that did not pit that time was Evan Adams, who got his lap back under the lucky dog. He's still catching up to the back of the field, which I believe is going double file now. Yes, lights are out.
I thought Mitch Welker was going to get a wave around there for staying out, but no, only Evan did, and Chad got the lucky dog before them. So Tim Downey Jr. is the new leader because he's the only one who hasn't pit in a while.
Will his internet connection hold out? Looks like it may have cleared up. Okay, here we go. Nope, he blinks again, and green flag is out, but he is away safely. Zach Carr is not able to challenge him. He's got Alex Bell to his inside. Can he get down to the bottom to cover him off? He'd like to. In fact, he'd like to go by that 25. He looks like he's got better pace. Look at under braking. He's able to get through the 15, gets turned by the 23. Caution is out. Oh, and he's going to get hit. That was Welker, who sees his woes compounded.
Yay. I could see that coming because Tim Downey Jr., unfortunately, he took an alternate strategy. He tried to stay up front, but unfortunately he just backed way off there on the outside, and that really just checked up everybody.
Yeah, you're going to see what happened exactly as you described. The 23 of Massey is going to make the contact, and he had no clue it was going to slow up that much. And these are momentum cars, so by that point, he was on a trajectory, and poor Welker was as well. You could see him getting a horrible hit, just really bashing in the front of the car.
Yeah, and worse than that damage, I don't believe he'll get the lucky dog now because he was involved in the wreck, or at least iRacing is going to say it was. So Ryan Carwile is going to get the lucky dog this time.
Oh, boy. This has been a wild one, to say the least. Carwile, you're right, is around and to the lead lap. So Carr now your leader. He did manage to get ahead of Downey in that, but Downey is not elected to come into pits. Cockrell, well, that is, we haven't really paid much attention to that 28, and suddenly he finds himself in the top 3.
Yeah, I don't think I've said his name once since the start of the broadcast, but he's mostly stayed out of trouble. his rear bumper would disagree with me. There's quite a bit of damage back there, but I couldn't tell you where that came from. And whatever he's been doing, he's still alive, and he is up into third. He started 8th. He's made up 5 spots. I don't know how he got up here, but he is up here, and he's got a shot now. Even though Zach Carr is back to the lead, he would probably be the easy pick for the win here, but you can't really count anybody else out just yet.
I have to admit, I know he hails from Club Texas, but Clifton Cockrell just always makes me think that's such a British-sounding name. I keep wanting him to be from Club UK&I. But no, he is from the South here in the States, from the Lone Star State. And he'll see if he can make things bigger and better here in Martinsville by sneaking higher up onto the podium. I have a feeling he'll at least be able to claim second over Tim Downey Jr. because that last restart to me said that Tim's strategy, like you said, just is not going to pay dividends.
Yeah, we'll see if he chooses to maybe not back off as much as he did last time, because I think he was trying to play it safe, but in the process, he made it kind of very unsafe. So we'll see if he just decides to go full speed, give it everything he's got. That might be the better move and just, I guess, naturally fall through the field instead of trying to let people by.
Okay. So as Carwile gets back out on track after taking a quick stop for rubber and some fuel, he'll be able to line up at the end of the field. Zach Carr will have control once again. The pace car is in. We restart on lap 132. 27 waits for it, and the green flag is out. Very good jump over the 25. Behind him, Cockrell is already going to get his nose in and try to take that spot away. Is the 25 going to get freight trained here?
It looks like he already is. Ooh, he was still quite slow into 3 and 4. Ben Laughter gets a push from Joshua Daniels. He almost went around for the 3rd or 4th time tonight, but keeps it rolling in a straight line, as does Zach Carr in the lead. Clifton Cockrell up to 2nd.
Halpern gets 3rd now, and it looks like Massey, despite the hit that he had a little bit ago, is able to keep in 4th place as he also sneaks by Tim Downey Jr., dropping like a rock. Laughter up to 7th now. I expect he'll likely get one more off of that 25 himself. So making good of a bad day in that number 64 machine.
Comes Joshua Banks down the inside of the 25. He's still just super late on the brakes. He's got no fear despite that kind of coming to blows with a couple other drivers so far tonight. And now he goes in deep trying to get by the 23 of Ray Massey. Does not get the exit he needs. Looks like we're single file through basically the entire field right now, which is pretty good if we want to get some laps on the board.
You know, in spite of Josh Banks' spin, he's back up to 5th place right now, so he's faring pretty well. And this side-by-side battle is the 95 on the 64, and Nolan Hodgson is going to try and take the spot away from Laughter. Laughter has no recourse. He has to give up the ghost on that one. Both of them still behind Tim Downey Jr. Ooh, Ray Massey now in a fight with Halpern as well, and make Josh Banks a part of that one. He's going to be able to get to the inside of the 36, the 26 rather. Josh Banks now up into 4th place.
Yeah, it's Josh Banks just marching through the field. And Halpern just got kind of shuffled out to the high side there by Ray Massey, and then he couldn't really do anything just because he was a little bit too high, and it compromised his exit because there was a wall on the outside there. But Joshua Banks, what a performance that would be. He's come under the ire of the stewards and his fellow drivers today for causing a couple incidents, but he could win this thing. He's going to come back from all that if he passes everybody.
He looks like he's got the speed, and he set the fastest lap just now, an 18.732, about 100 faster than Zach Carr's best lap of this race. Tim Downey continues to lose spot after spot as he finally allows by Nolan Hodgson. So can Josh Banks now get by Clifton Cockrell?
Oh, Tim Downey's around. Alex Bell got into him.
This happened in turn 2, it looks like.
It looked like it was just impatience again. Tim was going a pretty normal pace, I would say, and Alex Bell just washed up into him, front to rear. Yeah, just bonk. Say it again.
It's the tiniest little of wash, though. So I don't put that on the 15 too much. The 25 did not give him much space. Look at that.
Yeah, they kind of met in the middle, and oh, geez, another. Those tiny little, yeah, those little gaps just keep opening against the wall, and everybody's going for him.
No, that was Klinger, excuse me. Takes a little bit more damage because of that. Klinger's still in 10th place and on the lead lap critically.
It's going to be a party in the Project 2 camp right now, because guess who's finally got the lucky dog? It's taken him about 5 tries, but Mr. Mitchell Welker back on the lead lap. He's going to be 14th, so about 13 spots lower than he'd wish to be. But with no front and no rear, he's still got that car on track, and he might be on track for a top 10 finish here if he can survive.
Is Clifton Cockrell going to be able to get out on the lead lap here? He's been in pit lane for about 30 seconds. Now he's rolling. Okay, I was getting worried. He gave up track position, which was concerning in of itself after being in 2nd place. Now he restarts in 11th, and it almost looked like he was going to give it a little bit too long repairing whatever damage he still had on that machine, which means it is back to what it was on that big restart that we saw give us our longest green flag run with Carr ahead of Banks.
Yeah, honestly, I think Joshua Banks has to be the favorite for the win here. He's had so much speed on this green flag running, or in this green flag running. Carr has also had speed because he's been leading the whole way, but we can't count out Joshua Banks. This could be a very, very interesting comeback.
I want to see what Ray Massey has for them. As even though that car's very damaged, he's looked relatively quick. We're still not single file, though. Lights are still on the pace car. We've lost Pastorius now. Unfortunately, that wasn't due to damage. He lost his internet connection on this one, so the internet gods were not smiling upon him this evening, which means Ricky Williams and that 11 will likely see at least one more spot.
Trying to see if there's anybody else who we've kind of looked over. I don't think there really is. We mentioned Nolan Hodgson, who's just been kind of flying under the radar. Clifton Cockrell also running under the radar, but other than that, everybody's got their chance in the spotlight tonight, for better or for worse. And 40 more laps, 14 cars in the lead lap. There's still quite a few drivers that still have a shot here.
I'm trying to double check. I thought they told the 15 that if he gets another warning, they're going to park him. Don't quote me on that one. They may have been talking to another car because there was a lot happening at the time. The pace car, in the meantime, is in. Let's hope we can go green all the way to the finish, as we're going to restart with 40 laps to go here. Zach Carr is on it very early. Green flag is out, and Banks got caught napping. Here comes the 23 of Massey. He thinks he can maybe take that spot away, and he's got the car inside, but he doesn't have the traction. Banks denies him.
That was the diamond of the century by Joshua Banks. He was miles overcooking it into the corner, but it worked out for him as he was able to hold on to second.
Evan Adams just hit the wall, but no caution. He keeps it pointed forward. He's going to lose a lot of positions because of that one.
Yeah, just lost the rear. Again, exiting turn 4, but he saved it, and he saved the field by going out to the outside wall. Oh,
Banks
no!
Around, and Massey hits him, bringing out the caution. This time, Banks does not get lucky. A serious incident for both he and Ray. Well, that changes the complexion of the race at the front in a big, big way.
And I don't know how that happened. I think Joshua Banks just lost it on his own, unfortunately. Yep, again, on the exit of 4, just can't keep that car under control. And unfortunately, Ray Massey, just an innocent bystander there.
Ooh, gotta be frustrating. The 26 of Halpern is going to capitalize on that. He'll move into second. Nolan Hodgson will move into third. We're going to watch from on board. Massey, man, no time to respond whatsoever. That happened so fast that there was really nothing that he could do to try and get by.
I'm just baffled as to how this keeps happening, because I must come to the defense of these drivers. These guys are fairly experienced. They've all got between 2,500 and 5,000 iRating. They're great drivers. They're good drivers. But it's just bizarre how these cars keep penduluming around. Honestly, it reminds me of back in 2018 or 2019 when Sebastian Vettel kept spinning in that Ferrari. The car would just look completely fine, and then it would just spin around for seemingly no reason.
How many F1 references have we made so far this race on a NASCAR Cup car race?
Well, it's a next-gen car, you know?
Yeah.
We're in a new era.
Exactly. I feel you. Okay, let's get started racing once again. Well, it was Banks who seems like he had the best shot at things. I don't know what this damage is going to do to his pace. He actually miraculously is still on the lead lap. Where'd Massey wind up after that? He's also on the lead lap, but he's down in 13th, so he's even farther down. So they've got a lot of cars to pass, even if they do have the pace. And I honestly don't know what Halpern and Hodgson have in comparison to Zach Carr. Do they have enough speed to keep him honest, or is this an open goal for the 27?
Well, as we've seen in the first 150 laps, it's never really an open goal for anyone. Zach Carr has had the speed over his fellow Zach Halpern over the course of the entire race weekend or race session. Carr was faster in practice, Carr was faster in qualifying, and Carr's been faster in the race. We'll see if Halpern can pull anything out of the hat here. He's got a little bit of rear damage. I think Zach Carr's the only car in the field with no damage. The 27 just pristine still. Not even a scratch on that thing. It's remarkable, but I guess that goes to show what running up front can do for you. Unfortunately, it didn't do much for Mitch Welker. He still got turned, but Zach survived.
Yeah, and wasn't it Zach that made a little bit of that contact as well? I think it was Klinger who made the most of it. I don't want to say Zach was involved, wasn't he?
They were side by side. I don't think Zach actually touched Mitch. I think it was all Klinger. So I don't think we can put any blame on Zach Carr there. I think he's kept his nose clean. He's probably the only driver that can say that. And,
so you're saying that Klinger was just a little too close?
Yes, I was saying that Klinger was clinging to the back.
I had to get it in at least once. So that's my one for the season. As we get ready to go green, and Zach Carr will have to face newcomers. Will they be as challenging as the last few? Don't forget, Ben Laughter in there has managed to get his way up into 4th, but that damaged car is struggling. It's a good start for our leader. He strings him out quite quickly in the top 3. Down underneath, that looks like Lakatos, who is going to be able to overtake Ben Laughter.
And Zach Carr, the 27, just starting to pull away. This is a little bit of a freight train here, a little bit of a stack up. KST Lakatos is leading this train. The 28 of Clifton Cockrell trying to make his way through the field around the outside of Tim Downey Jr. He pulled that one off. Doesn't look like it. Downey gets back in line.
Downey and Cockrell have the same age tires, 13 laps that they've been out there. Mitchell Welker's actually on 5-lap old tires, 6-lap now, as he crosses the line, and the 15 below him got all kinds of loose hitting the curb. But we continue to watch the 64 of Laughter hounding Lakatos. Similar situation happening between Hodgson and Halpern for second. But Zach Carr, we wondered if anybody would have the pace to hold him honest. It's an affirmative no right now.
A lot of damaged cars trying to fight for these top 3 positions now. I'm watching the 16, I'm watching the 64 of Laughter. Both of them heavily damaged, but still keeping pace, and I guess that goes to show how much pace they had in the tank. Oh, Nolan Hodgson's getting to the rear bumper of P2. Hodgson and Halpern. Could see a fight here if Nolan can get back up there.
Coming off of 4 once again, starting to become a bit of a train now behind Halpern, because they're being caught by the likes of Lakatos, Laughter. They're pulling along Tim Downey Jr., Cockrell, Welker, Bell, and Josh Banks on top of things. Ooh, a little bit of a poke to the inside. Laughter fancies it. He's going to be able to get the track position. And it's going to be a drag race down into turn 1. Lakatos fights him anyways. 64 finds the grip on the final exit of 2. That gets him 4th. Whoa, the 25 like a rocket ship down to the inside.
That was a late move, and that was a surprising move, but look at Tim Downey Jr. You know, his tires are 20 laps older than everybody else up here. So, oh dear, everybody's all over the place.
Lakatos, not sure what is expecting to happen there, but cut over the grass. Thankfully didn't wreck anybody. Junior going to get by as Cockrell and Welker side by side behind them. That is for the 7th position into turn 1. He's got the inside, but not a nose ahead. Welker struggling with a less than aerodynamic car, and Cockrell will be able to solidify that P7.
Yeah, straight line speed less important here than most other tracks, but it's still somewhat important. And unfortunately, that 16 car is just absolutely bogged down on the straights, but he's going to try it on Casey Lakatos again, and he's going to get him easily. Casey's plummeting right now. I don't know what's going on with that car. It doesn't look too heavily damaged, but he is on struggle street right now.
Yeah, something is wrong, and the 50 falls all the way to 10th place because of that. So Cockrell up to 6th, Welker into 7th, Banks back up to 8th, although he is 4 seconds behind the leader, and we are down to 20 laps next time by. So I'm not really confident that he'll have anything to try and chase down the 27. Oh, and a new caution as Alex Bell.
And that's it. That's it for him. He was on his last strike.
Oh, boy. And that, unfortunately for him, that was all his own doing. He just spun it around once again off of turn 4, getting on the throttle, and it looped.
And through 3 and 4, just the same thing. I'm just repeating myself again. That's different in that he kind of overcorrected and he threw it into the outside wall instead of the inside wall, but these cars just very skittish, very unpredictable apparently, and some drivers just unfortunately not in control of them at this track.
Control C, Control V for turn 4, it seems, for much of today. And Nolan Hodgson into pit lane. Yeah, taking some repairs, maybe some fresh boots. Lakatos is in there as well. I see Chad Klinger, Carwile, Massey in, but everybody from 8th on up stays out. Welker and Banks are still on fresh rubber, 17 old lap tires for them. 25 lap old tires for Downey Jr. and Clifton Cockrell. 45 laps for the top 3 of Carr, Halpern, and Laughter. So all different strategies unfolding at the front of the field.
But the Zach Carr strategy of simply surviving is really paying off for him, because Zach Halpern had nothing for him. Ben Laughter has a horrifically damaged car, and Tim Downey Jr. has not shown race-winning speed tonight. So this could be an easy win for Zach Carr, but we never know. Maybe Halpern could surprise us with the restart of the century. Maybe Ben Laughter could get the bumper to him. We still don't know. We still got 17 laps, and we do have 2 green-white checkers that we might get to use. So it might not be a 185-lap race after all. We might go a little bit longer.
Speaking of, we actually have every car on the lead lap but one, and that is Ricky Williams. That's kind of impressive the way things have been today. Sadly, the other side of it is I think that much of it is due to the fact that I see a lot of cars that have DNF'd by this point. Hollabaugh, Mott Jr., Miller, Close, DeCuna, Collins, Pastorius, and Alex Bell just joins them after falling afoul of the stewards too many times.
Well, speaking of Finney and DeCuna, I'm looking at his stop time. It's about 29:46 right now, so if it is 32 or 33 minutes, he might be able to get back out here before the end of the race and get those extra couple laps, because he can get by Josh Collins. Josh Collins is 62 laps down. Finian is 66 laps down, so he only needs 4 laps to run if he wants that extra point, so it's possible.
And that's the only one he can get, because Pastorius looks to be a little more than 20 laps, and we have less than 20 laps to go. So mathematically, as high as he can get is 18th. Meanwhile, looks like they are double file. The 27 will lead them away. Zach Halpern will have to deal with Ben Laughter. This is quite the recovery drive from the 64. If he can manage to get a podium today, I'm hoping that means we'll get to talk to him in much better conditions. Green flag is out. and the 27 is away with quite a gap between himself and Halpern on that restart down low. The 28 of Cockrell able to get by the 25 of Downey Jr., and Banks is trying to get some spots while he's at it.
How is Banks back in the top 5? When did this happen? How did this happen? I have no idea, but suddenly he's back in the fight for the podium after destroying his car for the 3rd time.
Sheer grit and determination, it seems. And we got a wreck behind him. Think that was a single car. That was Hodgson.
And he was on fresh tires, so I don't know what went on there. Maybe they were too cold, because it looked like he lost it like halfway down the straight. So it's another one for the old replay machine. Let's see, Nolan. Oh, that's bizarre. He just got hot, and then I guess he overcorrected it to get out of the wall, and then he lost it again. He didn't hit anything, but he hit his own pride probably.
Yeah, you can see the tail going out. He was trying to keep it from going completely around. Boy, what a save on that one, especially not to get hit by anybody. It'll lose him positions, but he just mashed the brakes and it came to a halt in a straight line. So, wow, good job to the 95.
Yeah, he scraped the outside wall a little bit with the nose, but other than that, no harm, no foul. I'm sure he would rather the foul not be minus 15 positions, but he's still on the lead lap. I've said that for just about everybody, and if Joshua Banks proves anything, it's that this race is never over, because I'm still amazed that he's in 5th. That was such a hard hit he took, and the last caution that he had, and yet somehow the crew fixed it, and he's back up here with a car that's just as fast as it's always been.
By the way, Ricky Williams got another lucky dog, so only 10 laps down at this point. Just 10 more cautions, and the 11 will be back on the lead lap.
And speaking of laps down, guess who's on the track? It's the number 94. Finian's back out there. 72 laps down. He's on a mission to get that 1 extra point. We've got 10 laps to go, so he would need 23 laps to get by Hayden Pastorius. If we get 2 lucky dogs in addition to these 10 laps, I don't know if that would add up to 23. I don't think it would.
He's coming back in.
Yeah, he's probably just driving it through the pits so he doesn't get involved with anybody. No, actually, I think he's just going to the back of the pack here, because he got those optionals, or those required repairs fixed, and he's got to be out on track if he wants to get those extra 3 laps. So we'll see what he does here. This is a gripping storyline.
So Finian, the big Takuna, is not going to give up and just going to try and get at least 1 spot. I love that never say die attitude whenever I see it out of a driver, though. Just keep with it and try and finish the race and see that checkered flag. It's a point of pride, at least to me it is and should be for drivers, to be able to finish the race, even if you are well past being competitive, as long as you're not a danger to anybody else out there. I want to see and try to at least see the finish, and we are now down to 9 laps to go. It is coming to the end. Will we actually finish under green? Are we going to see a couple of green-white checkers and potentially a yellow when all is said and done? The statistics don't bode well on it, but you never know.
And we're finally into single digits of laps to go. So if the other Zach is going to beat the other Zach, he doesn't have much time to do it. We'll see if he can nail this restart.
Here we go. Green flag is out. Great restart for Carr. Once again, Laughter takes a peek at 2nd place, and he's able to keep his nose in. Can he get this one done? He's a little bit ahead of the 26. Job isn't finished. He's got to be able to completely pass him. No, he breaks very early and around the outside. No, up underneath him. What a shot off of turn 4.
That was great stuff from Ben Laughter. Zach Halpern just really struggling up high. From the start to now, he's just been stuck up there, and he hasn't been able to get a very good run. Oh, that was a swerve and a half, and Mitch turns the 28 around. Oh, dear. Oh, and they're piling it.
That was Trejo getting involved. Just no place to go, and I think he just blew his engine, too, because of that. Welker is starting to lose his temper now. He's on the radio very, very upset.
Yeah, and I would not put any blame on him for that. I'm watching the replay. Clifton Cockrell just kind of came down from about 4 lanes up and just took them both out. The 16 did wash up a little bit, but not as much as Clifton Cockrell in the 28 came down. They kind of met in the middle, but I would put the majority of the blame there on the 28. Look at him. He's almost in the dark gray and then down, 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 and there they both go.
Well, it is towards the end. Obviously, they're fighting hard for position now. We're going to get restarted with probably something like 5 laps to go, I think, here. No, less than that, because we are 5 to go right now. This might actually be a 3-lap shootout. And that's going to be wild. Now, hear me out on this one here, Joey. We've got Ben Laughter restarting in 2nd place. That car looks a mess, but what a story it would be for him to come back and snatch this one away and put that modified-looking machine into victory lane.
I am not counting him out, and I'm not counting Joshua Banks out either. These 2 damaged cars, they just need 1 bobble from Zach Carr, and they're going to be in it. They're going to be up for the win. I'm not counting either of them out. This could be the story of the night, of the week, maybe of the entire season, if these 2 absolute bleep boxes can win this race.
All right, our lights out this time by. It'll be 2 laps to go, so we'll get a green-white checkers. It isn't an actual green-white checkers. If so, no, it does not go out. So is it a 1-lap shootout?
It looks like we're going to restart on 184, so it should be a 2-lap shootout here. In a way, it'll be a green-white checkered, but it'll be the first of 3 green-white checkers. We got 2. This is going to be the first one because the race isn't over yet.
I've been waiting for the message from iRacing. I guess it's still yet to give it to us here. It should pretty soon tell us, first of 2 green-white checkered attempts. And that, I suppose, will pop up as it comes across the line this time. Yes, the race will be extended for a green-white checkered finish. First of 2 tries.
Yeah, I thought we were going to restart on 184, but I was wrong. They got my hopes up. They were racking up 2 by 2 1 lap early. So now we'll go for a restart here.
If you're not familiar with modern NASCAR rules, the way this works is they have to finish 2 laps. They will get 1 lap under green, where if the yellow comes out, they'll extend it to another green-white checkers. If they get to the white flag, it is racing to the end, and it will not go yellow. It'll finish under green. Let's see if they can make it to that. Green flag is out. Zach Carr looking good, and Ben Laughter not nearly close enough. In fact, he's around the outside as Halpern wants that spot back. Doesn't look like it's going to be a challenge for the win for Ben. Instead, he's got to fight for that 2nd place. He dives down low, thinking about it, but can't get it in there. If we get to the white flag, this is going to be ending under green for us. Just a few more feet. White flag is out. Here we go. 1 green-white checkers for us will take us to the finish as Zach Carr has a gap of about half a second and a spin from the 26. He nearly catches it, but it ends up spinning out. But it is Zach Carr who takes the win. Get out of my dreams and get into my number 27. Zach Carr is your winner.
And a photo finish for 3rd place. Joshua Banks hangs on. That is replay worthy if anything ever has been. He almost lost it out of 3. Tim Downey Jr. got dumped. That was wacky.
And Ben Laughter did get that 2nd place. Banks with a 3rd. And that car is just as beat up as the number 64. Incredible stuff. Carr's gonna burn it down in celebration. We'll come back with the unofficial results as well as driver interviews, so stick around.
iRacing is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all around the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics, engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 170,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsports organizations like NASCAR to deliver virtual races based on the real-life NASCAR Cup Series, as well as many other series on the NASCAR ladder. iRacing also features team racing, providing a variety of options for members to create and manage their own teams. Race with friends or real-world teammates in full-length endurance events like the 24 Hours of Daytona, Spa 24, or the Bathurst 12 Hour. Additional partners include IMSA, World of Outlaws, Supercars, and IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own Indianapolis 500, Bathurst 1000, Chili Bowl, and many more iconic events. This is iRacing, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car. Sign up today at iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Martinsville Speedway. We just watched round 2 of the Outsider Racing League, and we're getting ready to watch the replay of that last lap. It was a nail-biter for third. Unfortunately, for the likes of Tim Downey Jr., he got a little bit unceremoniously shoved out of the way as Josh Banks is going to get by, and he is going to finish thousandths of a second ahead of Clifton Cockrell.
Yeah, this is where it all went down. Zach Halpern's going to be kicking himself because he lost it completely on his own. He almost had it saved. He almost saved it on Ben Lafter. And then here up to third, Joshua Banks dumps Tim Downey Jr. for third, Denny Hamlin style. And then Clifton tries to get to the inside. There's not enough ground to make it up. It's going to be a controversial third for Joshua Banks, but it's a third either way.
We'll see what the stewards have to say about it. And in the meantime, here's our results for the race. Zach Carr was your winner. He led for a good chunk of it, but definitely had a little luck on his side. Ben Lafter somehow came back with a car that looked like it was half missing and finished in second. Josh Banks did similarly and certainly caused a few problems along the way and had a few of his own as he went from 13th to 3rd. Clifton Cockrell just behind him, finishing 4th. Chad Klinger recovering to 5th. He looked quick before he got his damage. Unfortunately, it just wasn't to be. Casey Lakatos was 6th as Evan Adams finished P7, Carwile P8, and Trejo 9th, with Tim Downey Jr., who got spun at the very end, settling for 10th.
And then 11th did go to Nolan Hodgson at the end of it all. Zach Halpern, unfortunately, from 2nd to 12th on the final lap. And Ray Massey, 13th. Mitch Welker, he led so many laps at the start of the race. He did not bring it to the checkered flag in 14th. Ricky Williams was 15th. And Alex Bell, Hayden Pistorius, all the cars in the used car lot. Finian, the Phoenix Dacuna, brings it home in 18th, ahead of Joshua Collins in 19th. Matthew Close was 20th after a few close calls, and then Jeremy Miller, David Mott Jr., and Matt Hollabaugh rounds out the field.
That's going to take us to our winner, Zach Carr, who joins us and started close to the front, so we should acknowledge that he definitely had the speed, but a little bit of luck helped him out, being at the right place at the right time. Zach, you found yourself leading close to halfway through, and from there, it looked like you had pretty good control of this race.
Yeah, the car was pretty stable out there. With the next-gen car, it can randomly hook on you. I had a couple moments like that. I do think Mitch and the 09 were definitely really quick. We couldn't get the long run in the beginning to figure out if I was better on the long run or not. And yeah, I wish we could have. Unfortunate what happened between them, but yeah.
Before Josh had his spin a little bit later, it looked like he was the most likely to challenge you, but Banks kept putting his bumper close, if not actually touching yours. Was he making you nervous at all?
Yeah, initially when the run started, he got really close to me and actually gave me the bumper in one of the corners. And like I said, these cars are hard to save, so any looseness, it's it's pretty icy. So it got me a little nervous there. And then I started putting some laps together and figure out, hey, this is the line I have to run to start pulling away. And I got away from him for a little bit. And then lap traffic came and it really helped me out more. And then that's when I realized the tire wear. I had saved my tires on accident. And I pulled away, and then I heard he accidentally spun lapping cars himself. So.
It all worked out in the end. You're a winner of round number 2, which will certainly help you, as you didn't even get a top 10 at the first one in Daytona. So heading off to a road course, do you feel like you can keep this momentum going?
Oh yeah. Throughout the past few seasons in this league, I've I've dominated a few road courses. We're coming to one I have not ran at before, but I'm expecting to have a good run. Yeah.
Well, who helped put the 27 into victory lane this evening?
My teammates, of course, Jeremy, Alex and Matt, they're great friends of mine. They help out a lot. They're running for the championship for me this season, while I'm just here to have fun whenever I can. So, and then of course you guys for broadcasting. Thanks for coming aboard. I know tonight was not the best representation of this league, but trust me, you'll have a lot better races throughout the season. Just unfortunate with the next gen car and the combination of Martinsville and people just kind of learning the car at one time. It just wasn't a good combination. But trust me, you guys have a lot of good races coming up, and obviously a big thanks to the league owners for putting this on.
Yep, that was Zach Carr, and we understand the difficulty of Martinsville. He was your winner today. That will take us over to Ben Laughter, that we'll get to talk to him for the second time in much better conditions, as Joey has caught up with him.
Yeah, Ben Laughter, welcome back to the booth. You know, that car, we're seeing it on screen right now. There was no front end. I don't think there was a rear end either, but somehow you still finished second. How on earth did you do that?
Weight reduction. If you take the front off and the back off, it weighs a lot less and you get more punch out of the corners.
That is true. That is very true. Engineering advice from Ben Laughter. Now, this was a chaotic race all the way to that final lap. Were you thinking you still had a shot at second place after the first caution you got collected in, or what did you think?
Listen, I wish we had put on a better show for you guys tonight, but as chaotic as the show was, I thought I had a chance to win, which would have been my first. In fact, this is my first podium in the series. I'm not much of an oval guy, but this new car, I like the way it drives, and Martinsville, I think this car suits it really well, and it just, I don't know, it made sense to me today, and I was able to hold pretty good pace, even with some damage. I was able to hold some pretty good pace. I think I do owe 2 apologies, one for Zach. I'm trying to remember which Zach it was. I think it was Halpern that I sort of squeezed late in the running there, and we made wheel-to-wheel contact, and then early on, I got into Casey a bit, quite a bit, and I owe him one there. I seem to have a habit of hitting Casey from time to time.
Well, listen, I think there's 23 drivers in this field that owe each other some form of apology, so I wouldn't feel too bad about it. Now, this car is still a prototype in a way, we can say, because it hasn't actually run in real life in race conditions. So you've now got a full race distance in it in Martinsville. How do you think this bodes for our real life NASCAR friends when they come here in the spring?
Man, it's hard to say. I mean, those guys are pros. I think they'll be able to go out there and put on a really good run. I'd watch for, your regular characters at short tracks, people like Hamlin, Busch will get out there and do really well. So I think I like these cars. I think that that's an excellent step in the right direction. For this sport to modernize the vehicles a little bit. And I mean, like I said, I like them a lot. They remind me a lot of the V8 supercars, and that's some of the best racing on the planet.
And speaking of V8 supercars in a way, next week we do go to a road course at Montreal. It's kind of an odd one for Cup cars, but are you looking forward to it?
So I've run a few races in this car. I won one at Watkins Glen and I won one at Pocono, and then I did well tonight. So I think I'll do well there. I typically do pretty well on the road courses in this series, just because that's what I do the most of. So I am looking forward to that. Gilles Villeneuve is a really good track. I've had some good races there in the past in different series. So I think it's going to be fun. The guys are gonna be figuring out what chicane means, because there's a lot of them there. But it's a blast of a track. I love it.
All right. Well, before we get you out of here, you have anyone you want to thank?
Yeah, a couple specifics here. I want to thank Mike Houghton. He sort of hung out with me today and, encouraged and kind of told me what was going on around the racetrack. That was nice of him. And then Bryce Calusa, a regular teammate of mine. He's not my teammate in the series here, but he is a regular runner of it. And he's been giving me a lot of tips and tricks on getting better at these ovals. And so I appreciate both those guys.
All right. Well, congrats on your second place tonight, and I hope you find your front and rear bumper.
Yeah, you bet. They're somewhere in the pits. We'll go find them.
Well, while he goes searching for that, we've got one more driver to interview tonight. He got into a little bit of trouble, but he still finished third. Joshua Banks is with Joe.
Yeah, and Josh, my goodness, what a wild end that was. But before we get to that, you seem to be one that had the pace to try and challenge Zach Carr in the middle of the race, and you were getting right up to his bumper a number of times. Were you messing with him, or was that the hardest you could go, and you were getting close because that was as close as you could get?
I mean, at that long run, definitely felt like we had faster pace. Just by a little bit with Zach. It felt like if we could get underneath him, we were able to get around him, obviously, and then go from there. But at the end of that run, the tires started fading off because I was trying as hard as I could to get to him. Zach and I have a history at short tracks and mile tracks that we just seem to always get together here and start racing hard. So it was definitely the hardest I could get, but it was tough though. But then in that later run, it just good old me spinning that sucker out, ruining my chances.
Even still, you started to charge back through, especially late at the end. Now, a little bit controversial, unfortunately, in that final corner. What's your take on what happened there with the number 25?
I messed up. I mean, I'm going to claim my mistake there because I saw an opening. I thought, as a driver, you want to try to gain as many spots as you can. And at that point, I was thinking, okay, let's try to get underneath him at the final corner. But I overdrove it just a little bit and it just clipped his left corner. And these cars, and any car really in iRacing, you clip somebody in the left corner, it instantly wants to spin out. So definitely unintentional, but I do take full blame for that. And I do greatly apologize to Tim for that. I know he had a good run. He got through the field and I know he's looking for a good finish there. And I do apologize for taking that away from him because I know how hard it is to get finishes here good.
Sometimes short track racing just does that. But we heard two previous drivers say that they fare pretty well at road courses. Would you count yourself amongst them as we head off to Canada?
Yeah, I mean, when I first started racing, it was one of those real big learning curves to do road racing in these cars. And over the past couple of years, I've gotten progressively better. I'm not one of the greats by no means, but I do know a little bit about road coursing now. I feel pretty good about it. So hopefully we go into the next week and actually put on a good run like we did tonight, except spinning out.
Yeah, well, I'm sure it'll be plenty tough and everyone will have their work cut out for them. Anybody you want to thank for tonight's podium?
Thank you guys up in the booth for doing what y'all do, man. I've raced with y'all broadcasting before, and I know y'all do a good job. So thank y'all for hopping on board tonight, and everybody out on the track doing what they could to make this race as fun as possible. I know we had our struggles, but for the most part, we did have fun at the end of the day. At least I did. And just thank everybody for showing up.
I love that good spirit that we're seeing from all the drivers after what was a pretty grueling race. And that was our third place finisher, Josh Banks, who went from 13th to 3rd, which is going to close us out for this evening. So we want to thank a few people before we go, which of course includes the league itself, Outsider Racing League. Thanks for bringing us on for coverage of this season. And also thank you to the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcast listed here on your screen. Additional thanks go to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. Check out our Bandcamp for more awesome work. Thanks to the team today, Joey, Zach, and Dougie. You can find out more awesome info about GSRC at globalsimracingchannel.com or through our social media we've listed on the screen. Check out our merchandise store as well at simracingmerch.com/GSRC, and there's a link in the description below, so it's nice and easy to get to. If you go down there, don't forget to check out the subscribe button, because if you haven't hit it yet, you should, so that you don't miss a moment. As we said, in a week's time, it's off to Montreal, Saturday, October 2nd at 9:50 p.m. Eastern. We have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out, mark them down on your calendar. Until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.